Hey, it's Kyle here, and for long-time viewers of this channel, you might notice that my background looks a little bit different, and that's because after a few years of having the same Star Wars set up for all my collectibles, I decided it was time for a change and time to rearrange everything, new layout, add a couple of things. I've been wanting to do this for a while, but when you have a lot of collectibles, it's just a big undertaking to kind of rearrange everything. So I've been thinking about it the last few months, and then here in Georgia in January we had a couple of winter storms that had me stuck at home for a few days, so I was just kind of staring at collectibles a little bit. And I got to thinking a good place to start to kind of rearrange everything and maybe inspire how I rearrange all my collectibles was to get a couple of new pieces of Star Wars artwork, because I kind of had the same three main Star Wars tourism themed posters behind me. There was like one for Visit Hoth, Visit the Forest Moon, you know, that type of stuff. And I like those, and I still like those a lot, but I'd had them for a while. You know, maybe a good way to inspire a refresh of how my Star Wars collectibles are arranged is some getting new artwork. And there's artists that I already had a couple prints from, Brittany Jackson. You can find her online as Brittany and Art. I already had a couple of her prints, these two here, and this Cad Bane one over here. So I liked her stuff, so I decided to go to her website, check out, see if there's any stuff in there that I really kind of was into, and I thought it might be a good addition. And I did see a couple things. She had this really cool Andor print and Return of the Jedi, which for me is appropriate because those are my favorite Star Wars TV show and movie. So I decided to get those, and that kind of inspired me then how I decided to arrange my collection. In the past, I didn't really group my collectibles in any organizational method. It's more just by looks, just how I kind of felt like they looked on the shelf. So they weren't, you know, all the Mandalorian stuff was it grouped together, or all the original movie stuff was it grouped together, or was it like Imperial and Rebels? It was just arranged randomly on the shelf how I kind of liked how they looked. And I thought these prints would be a good way, you know, like beneath my Thrawn print, have all my Thrawn stuff. Beneath Andor, maybe have some Andor and Imperial stuff. Beneath Return of the Jedi, have some of my original movie collectibles. So that kind of inspired how I decided to rearrange my stuff. So that is how everything's laid out. Obviously, some stuff I have more of, some stuff I have less of. So not every shelf is able to be 100% dedicated to a specific movie or TV show of era. A few cases there had to be some stuff that blended over into different shelves, just because I don't quite have the perfect amount for every shelf. But overall, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I'm sure I'll do some small tweaks over this house display over the next few months. But for the basic part, the main layout is set. So I'm going to do some video to show you the close-ups of all these collectibles. So if you have any specific questions about any of the stuff you see in the video, let me know in the comment section below. Like I mentioned with the Brittany Jackson artist, I'll include her website link in the description below to check out her stuff. She does some amazing Star Wars artwork, but also artwork for a lot of other stuff as well. So I'd really encourage you to check out her website. She has a lot of cool stuff there. And one thing you won't see in this video is actually the biggest part of my Star Wars collection. That's my Star Wars books. I have a huge Star Wars books collection, if you didn't know. And I actually did a video just about my Star Wars books a couple months ago. So I'll link that video at the end. So if you want to see what my Star Wars books layout looks like, check that video out. But I decided to kind of split that up. Since I just had shown the books, like I don't want to show my collectibles and then also show my books again. You can see my books in a separate video. So anyway, I hope you'll enjoy this video tour of my new Star Wars collectible layout. I hope you enjoy how I arrange everything. As much fun as I had actually arranging it. It was actually a weirdly satisfying project. So enjoy the tour of my Star Wars collectibles. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, hit the like button. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel and enjoy the tour. All right, let's start exploring my collection, I guess, with the artwork first. So these right here, these prints are the ones I'd mentioned from Brittany Jackson. So the Return of the Jedi and the Andor one are the newer ones. I'd had this Thrawn one for a while. You also have Luke and Mara there. That's another print I've got from hers. But also you have this Cad Bane one over here, which honestly, I think when I'd got my original prints from hers, I was at an event, it's more like you buy a couple, you get one free. And I've always liked Cad. I don't know if he's one of my favorite characters though, but it's just, I thought it was really cool artwork. So that's why I have a random piece of a Cad Bane artwork. This cool Death Star Millennium Falcon artwork is one I got as a gift from a friend. And I also have this little piece of Star Wars metal artwork that's over to the side that I don't keep directly behind me where you see in the video, because honestly it catches a weird glare off the lights and it makes the backdrop kind of unusable to shoot videos on, so that's why you can't really see that type of stuff. Then you have the stitch work that I got to get as a gift in a Secret Santa gift exchange. And I even have a Star Wars inspired light switch. But here is, you kind of see why I first talked about grouping stuff together. So this is my Mandalorian stuff. When I was arranging all this stuff, I think one thing I kind of discovered is like, maybe stuff I thought I had a lot of collectibles of, I don't have as much, or I'm missing certain characters. So for example, with the Mandalorian stuff, I realized I don't really have hardly any stuff for the actual Mandalorian. It's more Grogu stuff, because like a lot of people for 2 or 3 years who know I'm Star Wars fans who get me stuff for my birthday or Christmas, it's like, oh, I'm not really a Star Wars thing, but I know Grogu's the biggest thing in Star Wars now, and so I just got a ton of Grogu stuff. But I realized like I probably need to get a few more Mandalorian stuff, because I don't really have a whole lot that falls into that. So next up, beneath my Thrawn artwork, I have all my Thrawn stuff, which is kind of my favorite character. Not exactly a character I root for, because he's a villain, but the character I maybe find the most interesting. And then you kind of transition into some characters from the original movie trilogy, then into some Imperial stuff. I realized, which I don't think Andor is really the TV series that's going to spawn a ton of merchandise, but I really just have the one Andor thing, the little pop figure there, Funko Pop of Cassian in his prison uniform. But I figured like putting him near Imperial stuff would kind of make sense with the theme of the show. And that goes with my Andor artwork that I really enjoy a lot. I'm not really a huge Star Wars Lego person. I mean, I enjoy doing Star Wars Legos. I just don't have a huge collection compared to most people. So these are kind of the Star Wars Lego stuff that I have. I would like to do a really elaborate build at some point. So maybe that might happen this year. Then I have my little old map of the Star Wars galaxy and another little Star Wars Lego thing. But then you get into more kind of original movie stuff. I tried to group the Imperial stuff together, so you have a couple shelves of that. There, obviously, all the black stuff with Darth Vader doesn't really show up the best in the video, I know. Then all the Star Wars movies and stuff I have like that. A couple video games. I realized one thing that I need to do is just very expensive. A lot of the stuff like the Mandalorian, I know it's been put out in physical media, and I really need to get that stuff. Maybe at some point. And I used to keep all my DVDs here, not just Star Wars stuff. So I started emptying out my DVDs to make this entire case nothing but Star Wars stuff. And at the moment, I just don't have enough collectibles just for that. So I included a couple books, more reference type stuff there to kind of fill out some shelves so they're not completely empty. But at some point, that stuff will probably be more into collectibles, and the books will go with the rest of my Star Wars books. Then you have over here some Star Wars Monopoly, which I have a couple versions of that. Then you get in, there is more sequel trilogy stuff, but I don't have a ton of sequel trilogy stuff, enough for 2 shelves. The next shelf you'll see, actually, more decided to group it with some just random Yoda thing, and hey, I thought like R2-D2 is in the sequel trilogy, so that kind of fits. But then you get into, actually also, that's why, Ahsoka's there. I just didn't really have a good spot to put Ahsoka, so ended up in the sequel trilogy stuff. There you get into a lot more of my sequel movies trilogy stuff. Then you get back more in the original movie stuff. So I did more Your Good Guys. I have a lot of Ewok stuff. And then you get into more original movie collectibles. There, and you already saw my Mandalorian shelf. This is kind of the shelf for like a bunch of random stuff that didn't really fit. So I did kind of do a little bit of like Empire Strikes Back stuff. So like, oh, Chewie, there you have game. Boba Fett's and that. So I put some Boba Fett stuff over here. I also have like a lot of Star Wars pins. So I put some of those just on this shelf as well. Another version of Star Wars Monopoly. I've had that forever. I got that, I think, when I was probably in maybe high school or college. Whenever this came out, I've had it a long time. The box is honestly in bad shape because I played it a lot. Some random bigger items. Obviously, this shelf would have a lot of room to add some more stuff. And I got a couple more books to just kind of fill out a shelf that otherwise would be empty. So that's my Star Wars collection. I know I don't have nearly as many collectibles as a lot of people, probably because like a lot of my Star Wars money gets spent on Star Wars books, which are very expensive. Otherwise, I probably would have a lot bigger Star Wars collection. So, but like I enjoy this stuff. I have a lot. As you notice, like I'm not really big into keeping stuff in boxes or packaging, because like I'm not really interested in like this stuff is like resale value. It's just more stuff like I enjoy and I want to display. So like I take the Funko Pops out, I take the collectibles figures out of their packaging. Like, I'm not really concerned about like, oh, I'm hurting the resale value that I could do in 10, 15, 20 years. I'm just more like, this is stuff I like. I want to display it outside the package. So that's why it's that way. So I guess in the comments, again, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, just let me know. Again, I'll include a link to all my Star Wars books, so you can check that tour out if you want to see my bigger part of my collection. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed redoing this collection display. It'll probably be this way without some, some minor tweaks there and there, but this will be the basic way my stuff is we displayed for a few years, because it's a lot of work to rearrange Star Wars collectibles, so I don't really necessarily want to do this on a regular basis. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and like I said, I'll see you next time. May the Force be with you.